Hello guys, it's Michael Kantsler from the Facebook group. Me and Seth talked and he asked me to do a video for you guys to show you exactly how to make your own homemade homemade pictures for Amazon. So this is what we're going to do. And the first episode is going to be about editing the photos that you already made. The reason it's chronically backwards is because it will take me a longer time to make a video about how to set up your tent and which camera to buy and how to take the proper pictures, but I will do it later on. For now, if you already have pictures and you just need to know how to edit them and make them look good so you can put them on Amazon, I can show you and help you right now. So I have a picture here. It's here. Now this is a picture we took in our tent. You can see the white tent background. It was not edited, not in Lightroom nor in Photoshop. We just made a composition, and this is how the picture looks. Now, to edit it, what you need to do is first you need to have two programs, Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop. Doesn't matter what versions, but the latest are probably the best. So first off, we need to go to Lightroom, and I will try to do it slow so you guys can follow my steps. I am in no matter pro in those programs. I just watched like 200 hours of videos on YouTube about how to edit pictures and how to use Photoshop, and I mostly learned about those programs, what I need to do, what my needs are for Photoshop and for Amazon. So I'm not a pro in this. Don't expect me to do anything else for you. Just show you how those pictures can be edited and put on Amazon. So we're gonna start up Lightroom. There we go. We go to Library, and then we press Import. Now it will ask us where the picture is. So my picture is in D, new folder. Mark it here if it's not already marked, and press Import. Alright, now we have the picture here. We go to Develop. Press this picture here. Alright, so on the right side are all the things that we need to work with in order to make the picture look much better. Again, I will do it slowly with you so you can see exactly how I make the picture look better, and then we're gonna switch to Photoshop and I will show you how to cut it and how to make a nice background, smooth edges, sharpness, and all the things. So first thing we're gonna see is the temperature. Now the temperature mostly what it says. It does the taste of the picture, how warm it is. So usually, as a key rule, always remember before you move any sliders, remember the number next to it. So in case something goes wrong, without resetting all of the settings back to the original picture, you can just type in manually the same number that is here on the right. You see, for temperature right now, it's 6,350. So I'll remember that. And I'm going to use the slider to just adjust the picture a bit. Now you can see it becomes more warm, let's say. So usually the temperature should be between 6,300 to 7,500, something like this. So I'm just gonna adjust it and try to see how it looks better. So I see that this pretty much looks better without having any extra weird effects and still keep the white color. So I'm gonna just leave it at 7,000. Maybe a little bit more. No, 7,000 is fine. Don't touch tint. Tint will only make it weird colors like blue, white, and whatever. Now we go to exposure, which is very important. See, now exposure set to 0, and usually if you made a good picture in with your camera, you will almost not need to change the exposure at all, because the exposure in the camera was close to perfect. So in this picture, let me see, if I play with exposure, you see it starts making the picture more white or darker. So in my opinion, we took a perfect, almost perfect picture. You can always see by the color of the wood, especially if you have the sample in hand, you know how it originally looks. So if you're gonna play a bit with exposure, I would say that for now 0 is kind of perfect, you see? So we go back, press 0, and it will reset it. Contrast, exactly what it says 0 here. I'm gonna play with contrast a bit. Now what contrast does is bring your photos more life, more color, and more interesting effect, as you can see. So I would set the exposure, you can look at the golden color of the whiskey here. I would say about 50. Leave it like that. Highlights. If you have any issues with shadows, like for instance here and here, or something is melding in the background, like for instance you see this line here, it almost, the white color of the light that we have here, it almost mixes up with the white background. So if we use highlights, it will highlight them, but on the expense of shadows. You will see what I mean. Still, everything here is set to 0 right now, so we're going to play with highlights and see what it does. You see, highlights for us, if you look at the cubes here, highlights will almost remove all the whites, all the white color, and blend them. So we don't want that. We want to remove the highlights for now, so we can see the cutting of the edges here, the shadow. But as a rule, if you always remove highlights and put it to minimum, you will need to play with shadows as well. And see what happens when I play with shadows. What you can see is that if I reduce the shadows, I can see all of the product perfectly. You see, there's almost no blending with colors, but it's also not the most pretty one, right? Not the most pretty setting. So I would say, if we go reduce shadows, those two have to be backwards. If highlights is down, shadows has to be up. We bring up highlights, we will see now that the picture took a different shape. Still cutting the corners here. Let's try to play it like this. I think I rather see more of the product and have it a bit darker than having to look at a picture that is blended and you can barely see the product. Like so. It's basically playing with those tools, the one that I'm showing you right now, and you need to spend around an hour to maximize the look of your picture, and you can use your eyes to determine if it's looking better or worse. So I think that I want to see the product a bit darker, rather than having to not see the edges of the product. Next thing is whites. See, if I play with the whites, I can see more of the product, and maybe I can increase shadows now. No, I cannot increase shadows. Yeah, you see, if I bring up highlights up and reduce the whites that blind the product, let's say, I can see the product perfectly. And look, there's a point somewhere that I can see the product well, and it becomes prettier. Let's see what black does for us right now. always take a look at the colors. They have to be real. Like if you hold the product in your hands and you look at the box, you look at the wood color, and you adjust the picture in some way, and it looks weird. It looks like it's lost the color. It's more white or more different color. Then just go back to the settings and play with them until you actually get the true color, because the true color is always showing you if you edited it correctly or not. Now, once we're done with all these, always check the options, like maybe more whites. No, it's flaring them, but if you can see that this looks actually pretty good. Once we're done with all these, maybe a bit more, no, not more exposure. I think like this. Yeah. Okay. Once you're done with all these settings, you will go a bit down, and you will go to sharpening. Right? I didn't miss anything. Tune curving is advanced. I don't want to show you this, but basically what it does more highlights from sides. You don't want to touch that, it's too advanced. We are going to sharpening. Now this is very important. Usually 90% of the pictures will require to increase sharpening to the edge of it. So the amount set to 25 right now. Let's see what happens if I increase it to the end. Now you see how we brought the sharpness of the picture to life? Now look at all of this. Look at how shiny the cubes became, how shiny the wood became, and how detailed everything is. The radius also needs to go up to 3.0, I think. Let's see. Yeah. Again, look at the picture. Look at the stones. Look at the edges of the corners and everything. You can see, like, look at this. It's beautiful. And usually under sharpening, detail. Let's see if we play with detail, what happens. Now, detail, I would suggest, from experience, putting it to 60. Always 60. I don't know why, but it looks the best for me. I tried everything. And masking, I don't think we need to touch masking. Let me just make sure. No, masking will make it blurrier. So we don't want that. Masking to 0. Noise reduction is usually a camera default. If you have a pretty good camera, it will reduce the noise by itself, so you don't have to worry about that. If the camera took a good picture, I don't think luminance would reduce anything or increase anything, as you can see. But if you're using like a bad camera, maybe those settings will do you good as well. Next thing, lens correction. Always have enable profile correction, always. What it does is, instead of having the picture like a burl because the lens is curved, it will fix the curving of the lens and make the picture flat. Boom, you see? See the difference? Look at this. It's a bit roundish here, like a barrel. If you use enable profile correction, it will remove the roundness. See? So we're gonna leave it on. Don't touch anything here. By the way, you can see the camera we're using, Nikon AFS DX. See? Under effects, you don't touch anything. You don't touch anything here. This is more advanced stuff. All right. So I think that we made a pretty good change to this picture using only a few settings. We can look here, like if we go to open the picture here. Where did it go? What? Okay, see how the picture looked before, and look how it looks now. Very different. So once we're satisfied with how it looks, we're going to right click over here on the picture and do an export. Export. Specify where it goes, e-export for instance for me, to export. Alright, now we're done with this program. You can minimize this. So now that we exported the program, the photo, there we go, there's a picture. Double click and it will open it in Photoshop. Now again, see the difference between what we've done now and how it looked before. Alright, so now it's time to learn how to use the Photoshop skills to make a decent cut of this picture and replace it with a white background. What we're going to do for this, we're going to use 3 layers. 2 of them will be created automatically and 1 we have to create. So you see this little lock here? Every time you see this lock, all you have to do is double click and press OK. It will remove the lock and will allow us to work on this picture here. So the main tool we're going to use is this over here. Quick selection tool, it says. Click it. Here we have the size of the quick selection tool. So you can start with let's say 20, and what it will do is it will allow us to draw around this picture in a very not careful way to show Photoshop what we want to work with and how we want to edit it. So let's start. I'm gonna drag here. See, it's gonna show us everything that we are going to work with. It doesn't have to be very precise right now because we can work on everything later on. I'm basically showing Photoshop what we want to work with and what we want to cut. Now make sure everything goes inside this little web. Let's call it web. All the letters as well. Alright, now once you release the first click, it will go into editing mode. So as you can see on the little marker, it shows minus. You see my mouse? It shows minus. Now everything we touch will reduce those useless spots. So we go like this. Okay. And if you hold shift, it will add to the picture. So we want this, and we want this as well. We don't want this. Okay, and we don't want this. Now the tedious work starts. We need to zoom in, make our tool smaller here, the dot smaller, and work on all the curves and edges that we missed. So let's start on the cubes. I hold Alt and I scroll with mouse button to zoom in, or zoom out with the mouse as well, with the scroll. So you can see that this tool right now is a bit big. I like to work with the 10 to remove all this useless stuff. So you see it's set to minus already. I don't have to hold anything on my mouse. And I will go and I will show it. I hold shift, add, hold shift. Okay. I don't want this. After a few strokes, Photoshop will start to understand what is it that you really want to add and remove. So sometimes you need to do it like a few strokes until the program understands what it is you're trying to add or remove from the picture, because it's a computer, so it's not like very smart. A point to take is all these shadows at the border should not be in the web. So I'm going to add a bit here. I don't want to cut from the flesh of the cube, but I am trying to remove the shadows, and I will explain later why we're doing this, because in the automated generation of the edges that we're going to go soon to, you will see that it will automatically add all those nice shadows. But if you add them right now in the web, once you do the refine edges, it will think that this is part of the product and add some of the white as well. So we don't want that to happen. Let's go here. Now this is part of the product as well, so we kind of want it here. Photoshop thought we didn't need it, but we do. Those are not shadows, by the way. This is the product. This is pixelized product. See, if I go out, it's part of the product. It's part of a little bit of the shadow and a little bit of the glass. So this is fine. I don't need this. Now, the more precise you are with this adding the picture and removing the picture, the more precise you are before you say, okay, let's move on to the next step, the better your picture will look, because you will have to use less filters that soften the edge and feather the edge. You will see it later on. So just remember that it's better to have more right now, better work right now, than to make the program correct everything for you. Okay. Also, we like smooth. Let me see if this is part of the. Yeah, this is part of the product. The more soft the line is, the more straight it is, the better. So don't have like this. Okay, don't have like those. Always correct it. Oops. Always correct it and show the software what exactly it is you're trying to add. Now you see, this is not a product. This is what we're going to delete. Again, I'm holding Alt to make it minus, and if I release Alt, I'm holding Shift to add to the product, to this web, and if I release Shift, it will put it minus. Okay, you can also toggle them here, minus and plus, but it's just easier with keybinds. So I'm going to add here. Don't miss any pixels out. The better your work right now, the better it will look eventually. Oops. We can even make the tool smaller, I guess, by sorry. You can make it here. Let's put 5 to make it like even smaller, so we can have easier job doing the fine editing. Always zoom out and see what is the product and what is not. So we see that this is the glass and this is not the glass. So we're gonna take and remove all of this. You see the program is flipping on us. It says, what? I don't want this as well. But now we show it on the border here that we do want the part of the glass. What we don't want is not glass items. Okay. Now if you zoom out, you see that we did a pretty good job at this side of the glass with the cubes. We don't need, look, see, we need this. I'm making this a full video without skipping anything, so you can see exactly how I do it, and you can just follow my steps exactly, and without even understanding Photoshop. So you can see and just copy me basically and achieve good results. Again, I'm zooming in and out with holding Alt and scrolling with the mouse wheel. This is the product, this is the product. Always, if you're not sure, just zoom out and you will see what's what. See that this is like not supposed to be here. Now with the shadows, remember I told you not to take the shadows. So we are going to show it that this is bad for us. We don't need this. We don't need all of this. But we do need this, because this is part of the product. There we go. Also, you see this is part of the product, because if you zoom out, you'll see that this is the 3D image of the box, like it's going down now. So we do need to add this. Okay. It's best to always zoom out and see if you're missing anything. And also, the straighter the lines are, the better. I'm gonna show it that this is the box. I'm gonna show it that this is not the box. You see it, sometimes it like understands you already. It says, okay, I got you. I understand what you're trying to do here. And sometimes not. Now this is not good, because it's better to have a little bit more than having the picture cut at the edges, which will make it look like somebody actually made Photoshop on it. Bad Photoshop. Okay, so it's a must, adding all of the product and removing all of the shadow. Sometimes it can be a bit annoying playing with the shadows, but this is what you have to do if you want to make your picture pretty. Also part of the product, not part of the product, not part of the product. The more the color blends, like brown to black brownish, the more trouble the software will have like identifying where is the line that you're trying to cut off. For instance, here it's not that good. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? I'm just showing you, if you put some time into this, the end result will be a little bit better than what it could have been without doing all this. Like, I could leave it just like this here, you see? But if you do it properly and take the time to put into your picture, it will really help you sell in Amazon. So as we know, people shop with their eyes, so it's better to have a better picture and spend extra 20 minutes than not to do it and just, you know, have a lesser picture. Now we're now in the pixel level, like we zoomed enough so we can actually see the pixels. And you can see here that if I zoom out, you will see that we almost did a perfect job here, except this part, which we can go back and try to change. Almost perfect, yeah. Okay, we don't need this. We don't need this. Just go up. Who's messaging me? We'll go up. This is fine, this is fine. This is fine. As long as you don't cut to the flesh of the product, everything is fine. You can leave just a little bit of shadows or whatever, but just don't cut inside the product. Now you see all of these. If we add this over here, this will make the product look very sharp and nice. The top looks good. I don't have to edit anything here. See, this is the shadow, the 3D shadow. There's shadow that is being cast by a lamp source, like a light source, but there's also a 3D shadow that distinguish the product angle. Like from here, you see this black, it's going to go down. So we don't really need this because Photoshop is advanced enough to recognize this later on, and it will auto add it back. All those little edges here, you see, we have to work on them. We have to show the software that we don't want this. The reason for that, even though it's white here, the background we're going to do is going to be more white than this. So you don't want to have like a different white on your white, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna add it here. This is pretty, see, this is part of the product from a bad angle, so we're gonna add it. I'm gonna add this. We're gonna remove this like this. Okay. This looks fine. Sometimes it doesn't add letters inside, so you have to make sure that there's no web around them, and if there is, just add it. Here, this is the shoulder of the bottle, we need it. See? It's always good to go like second time and see if there's something we missed, like letters or those things here, or we haven't checked if there's like a crack of white somewhere, like between the two, like here for instance, or here that we changed. It's always good to have. Make sure you haven't missed anything, and when it looks good enough for you, we're going to use the refine edge over here. Press it. Now, output 2, we always change to new layer with layer mask, always. Okay. There's 3 options to check if the product looks good after cutting the edges. Now you can see it's very bad here with all the shadows. You can see it's like a bit cut here. We don't have any shadows even. I don't see any shadows, which is not that good. So 3 options we can do. We can take this, the radius, change it to 250. See how it looks. Alright, now we see that there's a lot of white here. It brought like weird shadows to us. We're gonna try 250 with smart radius. Let's see how it changes. Not good. I don't like it. Now we can put it to 1 with smart radius. See how it looks? Bad. And 1 with removed smart radius. So 4 options total. Okay, so from what I can see, I think 250 without smart radius brought us almost the most real picture. Even with the shadows, I mean, those are logical shadows. I mean, the box is like standing tilted, so those shadows are okay, but this is not where we finish. We keep it at 250. Okay, again, I'll repeat what I just said. It's either 250 or 1 here, and with smart radius or without smart radius. Those are the only options, 4 options. You just look with your eyes what looks better for you. Like this, or like this, or like this. Now if you see, if without smart radius here, the box will be a bit whitish here, and with smart radius, it's gonna bring some background. So we really kind of don't need it right now, I guess. See what happens again with 1. what is this? Um, let's see. All right. So after checking the colors of the box with all four settings, 250, 1, I think that actually 1 looks better than 250. Yeah, maybe it does. Without the shadows, we'll just have the product just hovering in the air. Let's look at the cubes for a second, how they look if I put 250. Always look at the product, not the angles, because everything around it we can fix. So 250, 1. I think the cubes are showing more in 1. Yeah, we want to show the product, so let's have these. Let's have 1 without smart radius. Yeah. Now, how we work on these ugly edges here and make it look better. First thing we can do is use smooth. Now, smooth, I usually go up to 440. See, it says 0 right now. Let's move it to 40. Now, if you look at the picture, you will start seeing how it changes. You see, from being ragged, oops, from being ragged, see that it's a bit ragged now. The edges are sharp. If you put smooth to the end, you see how it's smoothing the edges here and here. But we don't need that much smooth. We need like 30, I guess, because feather does it better. If we take feather from 0, we take it to a little bit up. You see how it changes? See? Now, in feather, there are 2 stages. There are stages, you see right now, the bottom here is ragged and here is a bit ragged. If I go up the feather, up the feather, up the feather, this is stage 1, where it tries to fix the edges. And then it will say, never mind, I cannot fix it that much, but what I can do is I can expand the range of your product, and it will go into stage 2. See what I mean? Look, boom. It says, okay, I'll take everything around this product, make it blurry a bit, and it actually looks pretty well. So if I take smooth down a bit, I can see that with feather, see, this is stage 1, this is stage 2. I can see that with feather, I can get much better result, and I can even remove the whole smooth thingy. Now, you would say that this looks a bit blurry here and here, but there's a way to fix it. So as soon as we hit stage 2 on feather, that will take all those edges, all the nice edges. See, we can like go I think this is pretty good. Yeah. We can go and lift the contrast up. The contrast will emphasize the product's edges. That's what it does basically. So it's set to 0. We go and put it up. Now you see all this dream type of effect goes away. See? Until it's ugly. So we go back and we find the best looking options for us. I guess here. This is better. Yep. And we go to shift edge over here. It says 0. We're going to tweak it up a little bit so the edges will be a bit darker and it will look more realistic. See? I can maybe put some smooth up to smoothen the edges. Yep. And maybe a little bit less feather or more. So we're just playing with those options, you see? Now look at the cubes. Look at the cube shadow here. If I go with shift edges. See, it actually brings out some of the proper shadows we need. but not all of them are necessary. Here we have a little bit of darkness problem. I think it's gonna be changed with the feather. Yeah, contrast. Oops. Okay. See, I'm basically playing with those options until I find the best solution for me. I think this looks pretty good because if you look at the cubes, you see the shadows between them, you see the shadows they cast on the ground, and it's not like weird. Just here, those shadows are messing with me a little bit. I think it's a feather issue. Yeah, I will kind of try to remove it. Contrast. This looks pretty good. See? This looks like the contrast is not that dominant. Yeah, it looks like it's levitating. It's pretty good. Alright. Decontaminate colors is when you have two different color shifts, like here and here. It's a bit two different colors. You can select decontaminate colors and then play with the slider and see how it changes. Horrible. See? It mixes up with the white. So if you take it all the way down, I usually don't use this option. I'm just showing you what it does. No, it's not pretty. I'll just remove it. Okay. Once we're finished editing here, you can see that the picture looks pretty awesome right now. I'm going to press OK. Remember to use new layer with new mask. With layer mask, sorry. Now what it did is it separated the background and no background plus our product. So what we're going to do now, leave it like this. We're going to have to go to layer, new, layer, okay. Bring up this new layer here, drag it below everything, like make it last in order. Double click the icon here, okay, unlock it so you can edit. Then we press G. G will bring the coloring tool to fill the blanks. And we're going to select white color, okay, here. And we're going to paint, boom. Ta-da! See how it looks good? Now we're going to go File, Save As, and we are going to do two variations. One of them is going to be PNG because it's lossless. It will be like a 40 megabytes file, but it will save if you want to edit something else later on in the picture, or you have your own website with unlimited storage, so you can like make the best quality pictures. So you save it as PNG. Okay, you're gonna do save and smallest slow. Okay, it will take like 1 minute depending on your computer. See, it's saving here. It's gonna take a while. Now this is not the best quality picture I can do because I was trying to make the video short, so I skipped a few tweaking there and here with exposure and all the settings I showed you, because you can see that the picture here is a bit blurry, and usually when I do my pictures I spend like 3 hours on every picture to make sure that everything looks best. But for the sake of the video I didn't have time to tweak all of those settings, but you can do it on your free time. Now it said saved, and we go and do another save as, and this time we're going to do a JPEG. This one, not the other two, not JPEG 2000, not JPEG Stereo, JPEG normal. Okay. I'm gonna press save and choose 10, quality 10. It's the best quality for size of the picture, because above 10 Amazon will not let you upload high quality. This is gonna be around 10-12 megabytes if you choose 10. Just press OK, and that's it. Now we go here, we have our PNG, we have our JPEG. Now just to show you again the difference of how we started, I'll just open this. This is the end product in JPEG, how it will look on Amazon, and this is how we started. See? Right. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, just message me on Facebook. I will do another video later on showing you what cameras you should buy right now in the market, showing you the tent, which is not expensive, and how to position your lighting so everything will be properly shining. Like you see those cubes, they actually shine because there's a camera coming from here, there's a camera coming from here, this is the light, and there's a camera coming from the top. There's a light coming from the top as well, which makes all of this shine as well and pretty lit up. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. See you around.